Okay, so our first demo that we are doing is we are putting aluminum foil in a test tube and just lightly crumpled it up, and then hydrochloric acid. So notice that the hydrochloric acid is clear. We will call that aqueous. So we're going to add in our hydrochloric acid to our aluminum foil. I'm going to put 3 dropperfuls in there, and then we're going to observe what is happening. So I got to give it a second. Sometimes reactions take a second to get going. So we've got our aluminum foil in there and our hydrochloric acid, and I'm mixing it a little bit to kind of give it a nudge to get going. Just thinking about it. Letting it interact with more of that aluminum foil. There we go. You can kind of hear it starting. You hear the little bubbles. You can see it. See the little bubbles starting to form. Once that reaction gets going, there we go. All right, I'm gonna put it back in here, because as it starts to get going, it does get really, really hot. You can see the gas coming out, so we've got bubbles. It's pretty fun. That's a pretty violent reaction, so this gets really hot. That's not steam coming out, that's gas. And we'll talk about in just a second which gas it is. All right, so again, this down here is, woo, that's hot. All right, so 2 evidences of chemical change in this example and in this demo here are heat produced and gas produced. We also a little bit have a color change, but those are our big 2 in terms of heat produced and gas produced. Look at that one go. It took a second to get going, but once it gets there, it's pretty awesome. All right, so now I'm going to show you really quickly the equation that you should have. So we started with our hydrochloric acid and aluminum foil, so that is HCl plus AO. So we have our states of matter. Aqueous, which I will show you that over here. Aqueous means that it's something mixed with water. So it's not actually water, but it's something mixed with water. So it's soluble, applying what we learned in our lab on Tuesday and Wednesday. So then what we see here is, right up here, we mix those together so that aluminum essentially switches spots with the hydrogen. And we create aluminum chloride, which is what's left over in our test tube down here, right? Down in there is aluminum chloride, and then we're left with hydrogen gas. So that's the bubbles that are being created. So when we look at this, we have our name, which is aluminum chloride and hydrogen, and then we have our chemical formula here and here. We know that hydrogen was a gas, so we're going to write a G down, and we know that aluminum chloride was aqueous, and our observations that you should have down is that heat was produced and gas was produced.